If you have been wanting to start a service-based small business, but you have no clue where to start, then today's video is for you. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 essential steps that you need to do in order to start your business. Today's video is in partnership with Jobber. In my experience as a business owner, I have found that the highest level of stress comes from not having the right systems in place in order to run your business efficiently. This leads to endless amounts of unnecessary workload and stress. Luckily, there is a simple and easy solution that has all of the tools that you need in order to operate a service-based business efficiently, all in one place. Join over 400,000 service professionals in over 50 different industries who all trust Jobber to run their businesses. Help the right customers to find you with marketing tools, help you to stand out, attract the right customers, and keep your schedule full. Save hours every week with scheduling, invoicing, and payment features that automate your administrative work and increase revenue while you grow. Know where your money is going with real-time insights and reports. And Jobber's credit card processing provides a simpler and faster payment process with convenient payment options, automatic billing, and instant payouts. Set your business up for success. Click the link down below and use Jobber. Number 1 in starting your service-based business is to get legal. We want to make sure that you are doing everything by the books, that your business is started the proper way. That starts with the proper legal documentation and registrations. Every city, county, industry, and state is going to have their own local ordinances when it comes to what sort of licenses, permits, and registrations you will need. Search how to start a business and your city and state, and you will be led to the city's government website that provides small business information on how to register a business. Generally speaking, you will need to obtain a business license, a seller's permit if you will be selling tangible products or labor that results in the sale of a tangible product, a doing business as statement or fictitious business name to register your business name, other industry-specific licensing, and local permits and fees. Many states have a one-stop website where all of this information is compiled, and you can run a search based on your city, in your industry, and you will be told a list of the specific registrations, permits, and fees that you need to obtain for your business, as well as links of where to find them. So in my home state of California, then you will visit calgold.ca.gov. For others in other states, simply Google your state name as well as list of required business licenses and permits. Step 2 is to get your business finances in order. You are going to need to open business bank accounts. And the very minimum, you want a business savings account and a business checking account. Banks are going to insist that you apply for these business-related accounts using an EIN, an employer identification number. Because this is required for you to open the accounts, you need to make sure that you obtain an EIN first before heading to your banks or applying online. An employer identification number does not require you to have or foresee that you will have in the future any employees. Instead, it is a tax ID number that is associated with your business. This allows you to use this tax ID number then on all of your tax paperwork associated with your business instead of using your social security number or other personal tax identification number. Once you have obtained an EIN, you then want to open a business checking account and a business savings account. Step 3 is to get yourself organized. Use and set up your business management software. We do not want to Frankenstein together multiple different tools, different platforms, spreadsheets, and have everything be a complete mess. This may seem fine in the beginning, but it is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. You want to utilize one tool that centralizes all of the different functions that you need to run your business all in one place. My favorite tool for service-based businesses is Jobber. Click the link down below in order to use this tool. Generally speaking, service-based businesses need a method to collect their inquiries from customers and clients, to send out quotes, invoices, and payments. It includes things like receiving inquiries, creating and sending quotes, sending out invoices, collecting payments, starting workflows, and a variety of other tools that you need in order to operate your business and keep your business's day-to-day functions running smoothly. Step 4 is to keep records. You want to make sure that you have clear plans for how you are going to keep your business financial records in advance. Before you ever collect payments, you want to make sure that you have a plan in place and that it integrates with your bank accounts and transactions are automatically being categorized from the very beginning. We're legally obligated by the IRS to keep financial records for your business. Now, the IRS does not state specifically exactly how these must be done, but you must keep them nonetheless. You're not going to hire a professional to handle all of your accounting and bookkeeping. Then make sure that you utilize a software that is going to organize this for you and automatically link up with your bank accounts to import your transactions. Not hiring a professional in order to do all of your business financial management, then in the very least, you want to make sure that you consult with a tax professional in the beginning so that you know exactly how much money you should be setting aside for when it comes to your taxes. Now, small business owners are not only going to be obligated to pay federal and state income taxes, but they are also going to be obligated to pay self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is 15.3%. And if you are operating as a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you're going to be obligated to pay self-employment tax unless you are an S Corp. Now, self-employment tax breaks down into a portion for Medicare and a portion for Social Security. Because small business owners who are self-employed are not paying payroll taxes, this portion is covered by self-employment tax. Sales tax if they are selling tangible products or labor that later on results in the sale of a tangible product. And you may be obligated to pay other forms of registrations, taxes, and fees dependent on your industry and where you are located. Lastly, plan for emergencies. I want you to have emergency planning in place at the very start of your business. This is going to include not only an emergency fund of money for your business if you cannot cover costs, but it is also going to include planning your business's insurance. Small business insurance is incredibly important and you do not want to skip it, especially for service-based businesses who are working directly with customers, clients, and with property that can be damaged. In addition to saving money for small business emergencies, getting yourself properly insured, there is one more thing that I want you to think about for emergency planning. And it is having your professional contracts legally reviewed. Simply writing up a list of what is agreed upon with your clients is not good enough and will not hold up in a court of law how you think it may. You want to ensure that you have proper contracts in place for all of your work. This means not simply writing the details down yourself or downloading a template online, but going to a professional attorney and having all of your contracts either written or reviewed by that attorney to ensure that they say what you want them to say and what will actually hold up in court. This is well worth the investment that it takes in order to have these contracts reviewed by a professional. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions.